Bring It, the Nerd Podcast.
Hallo zusammen, eine kurze Ergänzung, bevor wir starten. Ja, mein Browser hat wieder die Angewohnheit, meine Lautstärke wie gerade einmal runterzuregeln, dass ich immer wieder anpassen muss. Also nicht wundern, wenn es manchmal ein bisschen leiser wird. Short information before we start. My browser had the idea to set down I don't know how high my voice is, how loud my voice is. So don't mind if it's getting down during the podcast, because at the moment it's doing the same as well. So have a lot of fun with the upcoming podcast. Hello and welcome to a new edition of the Just Bring It podcast with the world's most English-speaking podcaster. You all know who I am, and you know when I'm talking English, we will have a guest not from Germany. And our today's guest is not only the winner of this year's Femmes Fatales, she is also the new 𝗙𝗙𝗖𝗜𝗔𝗟 shotgun champion. And if you still don't know who I am talking about, perhaps a question will help you. Can you feel it? Here's our guest.
What an introduction. It's me. Can you feel it?
Anita, great to have you here. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course, we talked before. It took some time till we found the day. We started in, you said, I guess, May. Then we both were on holidays. There were some wrestling shows where you had a lot more work to do than me. So now we have the time to talk about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's been a good thing. So, because since we have been trying to organize this this call, like so much has happened, even in like 3 or 4 months. So it's a good thing. Everything happens for a reason, you know.
Yeah, and your life has perhaps changed in some ways. You have changed your home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. So I mean, I'm in the last year I moved from Dublin, where I had even moved to Dublin from Cork for wrestling, and then I moved from Dublin to London in June, and I've been living there, wrestling there ever since. And right now I'm in Germany, so that was just after the World Tag Team Festival weekend. So I'm still here, still training, and a part of a few events before I go back home to London. So yeah, that's where I'm at. A lot of travel, all because of wrestling, but it's super cool.
I was staying next to the 𝗙𝗙𝗖𝗜𝗔𝗟 Academy, or where are you staying?
Yeah. I'm staying near the academy. The best for training and getting there and using the gym. So yeah, that's where I'm staying at the moment.
Yeah, I can understand. It's really cool place with a lot of possibilities to train.
For sure. And so many people come from like different countries to train, and you meet so many cool people passing through. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I know that's really, really special over there. So let's make a short time travel in your time short, because you're not that old now. We will look back all the time since the first day where you watched wrestling. How did you start watching wrestling?
You don't have to go too far back to find when I started watching wrestling. I was kind of a bit older. I mean, than typically when people start watching. I was 18 when I started to watch wrestling. It was just like I mean, I knew it existed when I was a kid, but I didn't really watch it. Like I knew who like John Cena was, or The Undertaker, or Rey Mysterio. I knew those names, but I wasn't watching it like a fan. But when I was 18, it was like on TV one night, and I saw it and I was like, oh, I haven't watched this in a long time. It's pretty cool. And I think by this time you have people like Becky Lynch wrestling. And I was like, oh, like she's from Dublin. What? Like that's really cool. She's Irish. And obviously I seen like Sheamus, and then there's people like Finn Balor and like NXT and all this. So I think seeing that Irish connection, I started to watch it more and I got into it because I found it really interesting. Like, whoa, how is there so many Irish people on this like American TV product in wrestling? It's so cool. I never knew it existed like in a way that you could do it in Ireland and then go to America. So that's how I started kind of watching it. And pretty soon after watching it, I was like Googling schools to try and find a place to train. And I thought maybe I could do it too, because like I always liked sports, and I was like, maybe I could be a wrestler. And that's really it. Like that's the short of it, the quick version of seeing it and wanting to do it and then just doing it.
We don't want to stay in the past that long, so that's a good way with a quick version to start.
Mm-hmm.
You talked
Yeah. We're
about
not going back to
sports.
when I was 3 years old or anything. No.
If you want to, we have some time today.
Yeah.
You talked about you did a lot of sports before. What was your sports that you did before going into the idea of becoming a wrestler?
I've done a lot. Well, like I grew up, I did athletics, so like track and field, I guess.
Mhm.
I did a lot of Irish sports. If you've never seen them before, you can Google them, but it's they're like Gaelic sports. So
Mhm.
camogie or hurling is the men's version of the sport. You can Google that one too.
Mhm.
And Gaelic football. So I grew up playing those. And then football was my main sport, like soccer was the main one that I played when I was in university at that level. So I kind of played a few different ones. I did a bit of martial arts for a little bit,
Mhm.
like taekwondo, I did jiu-jitsu. And then I think like all of these things combined, I was just like, oh, maybe I could be a wrestler.
You know, soccer is the most loved sport in Germany. What was your position in
Yes,
soccer?
I was center back.
And
I used
how
to.
long did you play soccer?
I was like from the age of maybe 14 to 22, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, I
It's a
kind
long
of
time.
stopped as I stopped in college just because
Mm.
wrestling took over, and your training like gets more and more intense with professional wrestling, so you kind of have to pick which one. But I still love football. Like I love watching it. I love going to matches. Um, and yeah, I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to try and watch like the Bundesliga as well. So it's a cool connection. And now I'm in Germany, but
Do
wrestling
you
instead.
have a favorite football team or soccer
I
team?
do. I mean, I grew up liking Manchester United.
Mhm.
I because where I'm from in Cork, like Roy Keane is from there, and like it's that again, it's that Irish connection of like when you
Mhm.
know someone from your area, whether it's like wrestling or football, you kind of you support that team a bit more. You're interested in it then. So yeah, Man United for me.
Of course, that's the reason why a lot of people from Germany love Gunther. He's not really a German because he's
Mm-mm.
Austrian, but he spent a lot of his wrestling life in Germany, especially at
Hmm.
WXW. So we know him
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, sick.
So let's come from directly to your wrestling time. You talked about you started with wrestling. What was the worst thing that you had on your first training that you could remember? What hurt the most?
What hurt the most? I don't know. I mean, probably bumping, but I think everyone says that. I think it's just like you go into your first training session
Mhm.
and you just like hear how loud the ring is when
Mhm.
someone takes a bump. And it's like scary because
Yeah.
like, oh, it's like so loud and it's so aggressive.
Mhm.
Um, that it's so different to like every other sport you play.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you start as a beginner. Maybe you have crash mats to help you, and then you get a bit more used to like this unnatural thing of falling backwards and protecting yourself and doing it safely. Um, yeah, we'll say bumping. I mean, you don't start running the ropes and things straight away. Maybe some places do, but yeah, I remember bumping was was the most painful bit for a while, but you get used to it. So yeah.
You already said it. Lots of people say bumping is the start, but after bumping, running ropes is the worst to remember.
I guess, yeah, it depends on the ring, or if the ropes are like cables or
Yeah.
so there's different rings that I've been in where if it's like steel or something, it hurts a bit more. But yeah, like it'll hurt like under your armpit, like your back
Mm.
here is after a while. But again, like it's crazy, like your body will get used to it if it ever gets used to it. But it does. You just don't think about it after a while.
Sometimes you get used to some kind of pain that doesn't hurt you as much as
Hmm.
at the beginning.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
for how long are you training
yeah.
now?
I did maybe I'm trying to think because COVID hit in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I think I started in like 2018, 19 maybe,
Mhm.
but really on and off. And that was in Cork. But after COVID and the restrictions lifted, so 2021, I don't know. I
21,
moved to
22,
Dublin.
sometime
Yeah,
around
like
there.
around that time when the restrictions lifted for COVID, I started training in Dublin in the Fight Factory. I think just because I was at that age where I was like, okay, well, I tried wrestling and the world shut down, and I was like, oh, I really want to take wrestling, as more seriously and treat it like a proper sport and go to the best schools. And so I just started traveling from Cork to Dublin to train there. And like Fight Factory had such a good reputation. It was like the school that was founded by Femmes Fatales, and like is responsible for Becky Lynch and 𝗙𝗚𝗖𝗜𝗔𝗟 as well, 𝗙𝗘𝗗𝗚𝗓, like all these big names, like the biggest names to come out of Irish wrestling really did come out of there. And so I went there. I started training there so much that I moved to Dublin for training there. And yeah, like that's so I don't know how long ago that is. I don't know. So maybe I'm training. My cage match says 6 years, I think. So
Let me have a look. I can tell you.
it's okay, but it's around that anyway. We'll only count the stuff post
Yeah.
pandemic because that was the actual training, Before that was kind of maybe she wrestles, but post pandemic is kind of since me.
How did you get through the pandemic time with the wish of getting more in wrestling, but you couldn't? What did you do?
So there was I mean, you have a lot of time to watch wrestling if you like it,
That's right.
and it just kind of makes you want it more because you can't do it. It was at that time I really got interested in like working out in the gym and things like that. And there was always in Irish wrestling there was like some of the schools set up Zoom calls where you could like watch a match and you could do kind of like a tape study and you could talk about what you thought about it. And I think through those kind of calls, like 𝗙𝗘𝗗𝗚𝗓 used to organize them, and like it was just really cool to like talk about wrestling and get into the details of like why did Bret Hart do this and why is that, why did he do that, and I think that just made me want to wrestle even more, and just try really hard for 1 year, see how it goes. If it works or if something comes from it, great. If not, well, I tried. So and it worked. It just which is cool because it's like it shows that if you want something hard and you work for it, then and you're lucky, then good things can happen with it. So yeah,
Of course, you have to stay the hard times as well. That's
yeah,
the whole problem
exactly.
with it.
Yeah, you have to stick it up.
So you went back to wrestling in, I guess it was 2021, because your first matches that are recorded by Cage Match are in 2021 as well after 2019. How was it feeling to go into your first real match after the pandemic time?
Oh, the first match I think it was like a Fight Factory show in like a school community hall, and everyone still had masks and everyone was separated, and I think it was like my first ever tag match with the 𝗙𝗓𝗓𝗗𝗓 of Destiny, so it was like a cool match for me. Before we were like officially a group, and yeah, I mean, I think it was. Yeah, it was just really cool. Kind of surreal because again, people are wearing masks and it doesn't feel real, and we all had to get COVID tests before we did the match, and like social distancing and everything. But I think, yeah, doing that match and coming out of it, um, I was like feeling really good. I was like, oh, I had a lot of fun. I think I want to keep doing this more. Um, and that would have been like my first match in Dublin as well, like outside of Cork. So it just made me want it more then after that.
If that was the time where you met the Saviors first time, was it the point where the character Anita Vaughan was formed?
Anita Vaughan was definitely formed with the Saviors of Destiny. It's exactly where the phrase "Can you feel it" comes from. So without the Saviors of Destiny, there's no Anita Vaughan. But without a lot of other people, there's no Anita Vaughan, and I could talk about everyone who's helped me along the way 100%. But the Saviors, like specifically, like, and then if anyone doesn't know, that's Owen Richards and Andy Steele. You might have seen them. They've done like some stuff in Germany with like Project Nova. They're big in Ireland with like Fight Factory. They've done OTT, so you can look them up as well, and like you'll see some of the stuff I've done with them before. But that's where the gimmick came from. It's where the "Can you feel it" catchphrase came from, and it's where like the energy comes from, because I think before then I was a bit kind of like more reserved, more shy. But with the guys, it was always fun to play off of them, if that makes sense, because I could be like the more high energy one around them, and they're like the serious ones, and it was a really fun dynamic. And I like, if anyone, like, you can look up, we have like lots of promos up on YouTube, and our like the Fight Factory Facebook page. You'll find them all there. It's when we were having a lot of fun and just like putting together like really fun promo videos, content. Like it was a really good time, and because of that, yeah, it definitely formed my character, or like a big part of it anyway. So like I'm always super grateful to the guys for like helping me get to where I am. So yeah, that's a big part of me.
You have been with them in Project Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I had seen you there for the first time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, in Project Nova. That was my first time wrestling outside of Ireland. Was it? Yeah, it was. And it was with the Saviors of Destiny. So it was, again, like, it was a really like important moment in my career, and I'm really grateful that I got to have that opportunity, because it's, again, first time wrestling in Germany, and like to compare. I mean, if I don't do this, I'm not in WXW and World Tag Team Festival. You know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm still really grateful for it. And yeah, did the stuff with the Saviors. It was really fun. It was a long time ago, so like, go easy if you're watching it, but like it was really fun.
But sometimes just seeing the start of a wrestler is really cool to see how it all began.
Yeah, listen, if anyone's going back and watching it, it was the start, okay? It's the start of my career. Just remember that.
It's really
But I
interesting
had fun.
how you tell us that the energy has come by them, but I guess the energy has always been in you, but someone had to open it so it could
Yeah,
come out.
yeah, and that's all about, for every wrestler, you know, you have to find what energy in general you bring to the ring, or what presence or character. Because when you start, you know, sometimes you're just looking to, you know, get the fundamentals of being a good wrestler down. You want to be like safe, or you want to be competent and look like you know what you're doing, and then the character can add on afterwards. But yeah, it's the energy is like the fun part, or like what people want to see sometimes. So yeah. Yeah.
Like you feel in Germany, in Oberhausen, it's like people love your energy over here. So
Yes, man. But again, like I didn't even realize that I had an energy, but it is just like listening to the crowd and playing off of them. It's all about the interactions that I've had with them, and I think that's why I love wrestling in Germany so much, is because, you know, they're just so open to coming along with you, and wanting to cheer or wanting to boo, or, you know, wanting to react and be a part of the show. And it's like my favorite crowds, like the crowds that like interact and aren't shy. They're the best ones, you know. So I've always been very lucky, and I've always had the most fun in Germany, definitely.
our German crowds are positively crazy, and that's good for wrestling.
Yeah. I heard the first Auf die Fresse, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool.
Did you understand it as you heard it first, or was it explained to
At
you?
first, no. I feel like the first time I heard it was Project Nova, and I didn't know what they were saying. So I think I asked the referee. I was like, "What are they saying?" And I think they were like, "Oh, they're just saying they want to hit you, or hit." I don't know. Anyway, but I understand what it means now, and now I enjoy the chance.
You understand it now because I heard you are practicing some German.
A little, a
A
little.
little.
I got really into learning German in
You
like
don't have to
March,
show it
April.
to us. I know
No, no,
how
no.
hard German is.
We'll keep it secret for now, until one day I will just boom. But yeah, I
Yeah.
got really into
We're
it in
just
like.
waiting for the match against 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗧, where you will have your first German promo after the match.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, that's a big occasion. So yeah, I should really learn something for that besides genau and Dankeschön. Besides that,
That's something good
kannst
already.
du es
So,
fühlen? Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll learn more.
how hard is it to learn this language?
Say again.
How hard is it to learn German?
I don't think it's super difficult. I mean, I'm lucky. Like, I speak French as well. When I went to university, that was part of my degree. So I speak
Oh,
French
okay.
quite well. So I've always liked learning languages. so for me, like German, like it's like fun to learn. The words can be really long though. That's the only thing. And then like trying to pronounce the words, they don't look like how they sound sometimes, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the same with English, I guess. So yeah, but it's a fun language to learn. It's a challenge. But yeah, I like it.
That's good. In my opinion, for me, it's good that I'm a native speaking German, because I guess this language would be the one that I would not like to learn first. I I think for me, English was the easiest one, because I also like languages to learn.
Mm,
Then there was French. I learned
mhm.
it as well, but it's long time ago. Last time I had French in school was in, oh, I guess 1999,
Okay.
some days ago.
You could do with the refresher course, maybe. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
perhaps a bit. Last time that
Yeah.
I spoke a little bit French was when I introduced 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗓 to the podcast
Oh, you're sick.
some time ago. So it's good that you find German is that good to learn, and with
Mhm,
some love for languages, it's easier than for people that don't have this love.
mhm,
So we talked about languages. Let's talk about home. You left your Ireland home to England. How's the feeling that you knew? Of course, you're already changed inside of Ireland, but leaving the
mhm.
country, isn't it much harder?
Yeah, again, it was I I just I mean, some people said, like, that's a bit of a crazy risk because, at this time when I'm wrestling, I mean, it's not like I'm moving for guaranteed wrestling work or anything
Mm,
like that. Um, I think it's just like always within me to like wanna do the next thing and keep getting better and pushing it forward. So I think as well, it was hard, of course. Like I left my job, my family, like everything, and I just said London, okay, moved over. Thankfully everything worked out. Like I'm settled now. I was really lucky to land on my feet. But I think I felt like I had done everything I could do in the Irish wrestling scene because there's only so many promotions, only so many wrestlers, only so many coaches, and you're always wrestling the same people,
mm,
and it's the same matches and the same not the same training sessions, but it just becomes routine. And I think, when you want to get better, you have to move yourself into that zone where it challenges you more. And I've always loved going abroad to train. I mean, for example, going to WXW and training, I've done a few stays with the guys in the
mm,
last year, which I really loved. And then you take that back. I've done times where I've gone over and trained in England, in Wales, in New Wave. And you just you learn so much and you travel and you meet so many new people that part becomes easy. Um, and yeah, thankfully in London, I've really enjoyed it. I've already felt like getting to train in the different schools that I've trained in, wrestling with the different coaches. I mean, even in the last 2 months, I've got to wrestle names that were on my dream list for so long. Like I've always wanted to wrestle Alex Windsor, got to do that. Nina Samuels, got to wrestle her. Rio, Kanji, I got to wrestle all these amazing women's wrestlers in the UK because I moved over, and you're there and you're in that circle. So like it's just about like thinking, okay, where do I want to be in my wrestling, and then putting yourself as close to that as possible because it probably
mm.
wouldn't have happened if I just stayed in Ireland and stayed comfortable. So if anyone's watching this and they want to, push themselves to the next level, just go for it. Oh my God, you have a cat.
Yeah, yes,
Hello.
we have two cats here, but this one is always coming here when I'm doing podcasts anyway.
We won't complain. Hello, cat.
So
But yeah.
Lisa is Lisa is her name, and she's always lying on my, I don't know how it's called, on my
Huh.
legs.
Yeah. Hello, Lisa.
And wants to be with us during the podcast. That's on every podcast I'm recording. She's coming in.
Oh, little cutie. But yeah, so let's move to London, and I'm
Yeah,
happy. So it's cool.
that's great. That's great that you're happy there. And you already said you have been with WXW for some time. You have been in Femme Fatale in 2023 already for the
Hmm.
first time, and
Yeah.
you had I would say your situation had improved a little bit along the year to this year's Femme Fatale.
Like, it's crazy because my WXW debut was Femme Fatale 2023.
Yeah.
And like in just 12 months to go from, like I wrestled in Ireland. I hadn't even wrestled in the UK at that point. So, getting to say, oh yeah, I wrestled in WXW, did Femme Fatale. Okay, I'll come back and I'll go training. Okay, now I have a match in Hamburg against 𝗙𝗘𝗗𝗏𝗧. Okay, that's really cool. And then coming back again, I think I came back again in March then? I don't know. And then having Carrot Weekend, the whole tag team with Oscar. And then coming back again and again, doing Shortcut, and then Tag Fest. But like, it's all these like little things that added up, and I couldn't believe it. But yeah, in 12 short months to go from debuting in Femme Fatale to eventually winning it in 2024 is like, you couldn't write that. I'm so it hasn't sunk in my head that that's what happened.
Some years in the future, you can write it down.
Yeah.
Let the people know.
We have it in the podcast now, so it's there in somewhere in history.
Yes, like you said, you started with Femme Fatale, then there was the 16 Carat Weekend, and then we got something that we never thought before we would wish for, the tag team with Oscar. Some people with such a similar energy working together as a tag team. How was this for you?
It was really fun. I think the best part was it was unexpected for the two of us. Obviously for Oscar, he had like Yuto was injured, so what does he do? I think he had his own singles matches. I think he did Ambition as well. And then
don't really know at the moment as well.
Oh yeah. And then they put us together. I think it was like in the gauntlet match.
Yes.
Was the first one. And then like, because you don't plan to have like a similar energy with people. We just also both happened to be wearing green gear, so it looked kind of cool. And we just I was like, hey, we'll just go out and we'll be ourselves and we'll have good energy. And then the crowd were like chanting like Oscar and Anita straight away, which is insane. And then like the reactions that we got, and because of the like how the fans enjoyed it, it got to happen more and more and more. So where we were wrestling KXS, we wrestled them, and then even when we did I think we did a show in I can't remember where this show was, but we did other like We Love Wrestling events together and tagged together against like High Performer Limited, and like we got to do more. So it's definitely like one of those things that like nobody expected it, but everything happens for a reason. And like again, one of the most fun things I got to do in WXW.
You made the people so happy that they just switched you two for the tag team festival.
Oh yeah, I saw some people were like tweeting like, announce Oscar and Anita for Tag Fest. I was like, no guys, Yuto is back. But yeah.
If you would not have been back, it would be a good alternative.
Yeah, well, in a nice way. I feel like we're always going to be associated in that sense. Like I'm always friends with Oscar, and now I know Yuto, so like that's just always like a link. But those guys are the tag experts. I was just happy to be a part of the journey. But no, now that the guys, and of course they're the tag experts, look at them now because they're the tag team champions, and as it should be.
But that's not your only tag team experience in the last time. You always have let me say, a tag team partner with a little different attitude, with 𝗙𝗘𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗧.
Yeah. Debbie, yes. So, for anyone who doesn't know, Debbie was also one of my coaches in Fight Factory. So when I moved from Cork to Dublin, she was one of the first people on the coaching team who helped me. From there, we did like tag stuff in Ireland. We did it in the UK. We're also, me and Debbie as the Gals is the name of the tag team. We're the tag team champions in Pro Wrestling Eve. And now in WXW, we came head to head in the final of Femmes Fatales. So that was funny, getting to wrestle someone really well. But yeah, our still a really fun. It was a fun match to have. And yeah, I mean, it would be cool if we could do some tag stuff, but her attitude in WXW hasn't maybe matched mine, but we'll see.
But sometimes you have such teams that don't have the same attitude, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back to teams like in AEW with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, they were really different.
That is true. That is true. Anything can work. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You already said it, Tag Team Festival. That's the last point in our timeline. A lot of things happened. And if I don't know if you already know, you have one of the most loved matches of Inner Circle. A lot of people are talking about it, about your match against one called Madness.
Yeah, man, that was, I mean, I know Inner Circle is in general a surprise show. So when I tell you that match was a surprise to me too. And honestly, it is one of my favorite matches I have ever had. Manders is so good. He's so cool. I feel like we I don't know, maybe the match was like 8 or 9 minutes long, but it was like legit one of my favorite matches I've ever had. And a big part of that is due to the crowd, how much they reacted to everything. And I mean, if people haven't seen Inner Circle before, it's obviously it's in the WXW Academy. It's quite small. Everyone is packed into this room, and it's really close. People are up by the ring, and it's a really like intimate feeling. If it just feels really special, and yeah, like that match felt really special, and I definitely wrestle him again, as physical as it was. But yeah, and that's the fun thing about WXW is like there's matches that you never knew you would want to see, or want to have. Like I never thought that I would want to wrestle Manders, one called Manders, and then I'm put in a match with him, and I'm like, okay, that was really crazy. That was kind of fun. Let's do that again, or like what's next? So yeah, and there, to be fair, yeah, a lot of people were happy with the match, but I think again it's because of the surprise of it. You don't know who's going to come through the curtain, who's going to be the opponent, and it was such a funny matchup. Like, and you wouldn't think to put us together, but that's what can sometimes happen, and magic can happen, and the crowd were into it, and yeah, like I said, one of my favorite matches I've ever had.
Yeah, it was just great. Everyone who hasn't seen it, you can see it on WXW since, I guess, 1 week already. It's released on WXW now on the
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
In
WXW
German and
membership.
English commentary available, so whatever you prefer.
Just look for it. It was a really, really good match. One of the top 3 that a lot of people told me. So
Oh, crazy. Well, no spoilers if people haven't seen the match, but you don't know who wins, but it was a good match.
yeah, and perhaps sometimes down the road, Mendes could have the idea to have a shot on your title.
Oh, I don't know.
Perhaps you don't really know already.
No, well, he can try. If he's over from America, I'll be like, "Ugh, is he coming?" But yeah, that could be cool.
So let's go to the second show, and yeah, I guess you have the privilege, or you were part of some of the best shows on the weekend. You were in Femmes Fatales. Femmes Fatales was my favorite WXW show at the weekend, and you were in the tournament, just a 2-round tournament. And you already said there were some persons, some women that you would wanted to fight, to wrestle. Riho was one of it. And that was not your first match. I already know you had a title match in, I guess, in progress. It was before.
We had some matches before in Body Slam wrestling.
Body Slam. It was
We
a Body
wrestled
Slam,
twice before. Yeah, in Body Slam in Denmark. So, and I think I wrestled her twice in Body Slam, and I wrestled her one time in Cork. It was for the Progress Women's Championship. I think the match is on YouTube, for RCW. But yeah, Rio, like I've wrestled her a lot, but it's like a different match every time. She's so that like it's just a pleasure to wrestle her. It's always physical. She's like this really cool blend of like power, but like she's a really good technical wrestler, and her presence is so cool. Like you feel it when she makes her entrance. Like you watch. yeah, so we were the opener for Femmes Fatales 2024. So it was like really special to be able to be in that position. Got to have that match. Thankfully, came out on top. But yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
There are two places on a wrestling show that are really special: the opener and the main event.
Yes,
And you
and
had both places this time.
yeah, it was crazy. And again, like to think that like 1 year ago, I was just like, I think it was like it was a non-tournament match. It was like me
A
and Eva
showcase
Karaki
match.
just in yeah, we just had a match and it was really cool. And then a year later, yeah, to be the opener against Rio and then the main event against Debbie, like I would not have believed that if you told me. And especially the results. I wouldn't have believed the results. But yeah, and then especially to be in the final with Debbie, um, that in itself was special because I think personally, like someone who's trained you and who's seen me from day one of my wrestling career to go from, learning the basics, how to bump, how to do all these things, to then being in the main event, winning this tournament, like, and hearing the reaction of the crowd. Like, this is also like Femme Fatale is on day 3 of the tournament, and people maybe they've done Inner Circle, they've done night 1, night 2, there's the Extreme Wrestling Party, this whole weekend of wrestling, and then it's the Sunday morning, so sometimes people are tired, and it can be a lot of wrestling to watch, and thankfully the crowd they still had this energy, and it was, it's an earlier show, it's on at like 12 in the afternoon, and they have a full day of wrestling ahead of them, so I mean I was blown away, like even by the reaction of the crowd and how much they got invested in our story and how much they gave as well. So like and all of that just makes it even more special.
But a lot of this energy was not just because the crowd was in good mood. It was because of what you did inside the ring. You worked with the crowd. That's something that you do really well, working with the crowd.
Oh, well, thank you. That's what I mean though. When I say can you feel it, like I kind of mean it, I like that's why I love being able to use that as a catchphrase
Mhm.
and like because sometimes people ask me, what does that mean? Like, can you feel it? What does it mean? I can't explain it. I
Yeah.
just come out. I'm asking the crowd, can they feel it? And thankfully they say yes. But I just mean, can you feel the energy and wanting to, I'm about to have a fight. I'm about to
Mhm.
have this match. Like, please, like, come with me on this journey. That's what I love about wrestling. And yeah, like, um, it's like I've had like tough matches, and when you do see the people in the crowd getting behind it, like it doesn't matter how tired you are or how sore or hurt you are. They are genuinely like can carry you through and get you through a match to give a,
Mhm.
like, a really big performance and get more out of you genuinely. So yeah, thankfully they came along on the Femme Fatale show. Like even getting to speak on the mic with them afterwards, do a promo, and like how much they were a part of that as well. But yeah, it was sick.
You heard what they wanted, but you had something that you have to manage before. So Levaniel got a little rude on you in the, I guess it was the shortcut backstage vlog in this
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
And
So
so you have to clear this first because before perhaps sometimes the wish of the crowd would come afterward.
yeah, so if anyone didn't see, I mean, traditionally, I think I said in Femme Fatale, the winner would get uh, a shot at the women's championship. So since that had become unified, there's no women's championship. So, and I didn't know. I was like, what is next for me? Because I would like to do something. I mean, the trophy is really cool as well,
Yeah.
which I do like the trophy. It's somewhere anyway. But yeah, I said, what's next? And then the crowd chant Tihani. I didn't think it was a bad idea. It wasn't a bad idea. Maybe it could have made sense. I mean, maybe that's technically where the women's belts unified. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also, yeah, I had an issue with Lavaniel, and I think, yeah, like he had said comments about me and backstage after Shortcut, and even I think he had his feud with Oscar in Hamburg and everything in their matches because I was watching those closely, even though I wasn't
Mhm.
there. And yeah, it just when the opportunity came up, that I could call out someone, he was like the obvious name for me personally.
But perhaps sometimes down the road there would be a possibility to can, because just remember, in wrestling history, there have been some times when I just call it secondary title, like the IC title in WWE, has gone on a journey to face the world title. We had it with Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan. Perhaps we watched it. It's not your time, I know, but it's a place in history. And perhaps sometimes you will see you face the unified champion in the future. There are possibilities. Perhaps you will
For
see it.
sure. Like, absolutely. And I would love a match like of that level in the future when, you know, when I'm ready. Definitely my priority now is it's the shotgun belt, you know, to be the first woman to ever win that belt. And like you can look back at the history of the names who have held that and what they've gone on to do. It's insane, and it makes it even more unbelievable for me sometimes seeing it, you know, how the names and the history of the shotgun title, it is its own thing and it's prestigious, and I want to make my run with it, you know, something special also, whatever that looks like. So like, you know, that's where my energy is, you know, and you've got so many exciting, you know, titles in WXW, of course, the main title. You have the shotgun belt, whatever I'm going to do with this, and even the European title, which, you know, what I think I could have been a part of that as well. But and again, never say never. And then the tag belts, there's so much opportunity floating around for everyone, and so many potential matchups that, like, you know, I just think it's a really exciting time ahead for WXW. Like, I think all the champions have changed so soon, and it's like, yeah, I know people have said it's like a new era, or it feels like a new chapter maybe for WXW, and it's just really cool to be a part of that history. So I'm happy to play my part and do as good as I can with my shotgun title.
Of course. I'm really interested in who you will defend it against. I have already seen Debbie will be there on the road at the next show for you.
Yeah,
And
we have a bed second in, but it's not for the title. No.
oh, not okay.
No, it's
I
a
haven't seen.
rematch.
Okay.
Not my decision, but I'll fix it. So.
But if I'm thinking about it, she just lost. Why should she get a title match against you again? So there could be a lot more possibilities. We have just one question left. 𝗦𝗢𝗖𝗓𝗓. Levani was a little bit cocky and said he is now the best indie wrestler after pinning 𝗦𝗙𝗗𝗏𝗧. Are you now the best indie wrestler in the world after pinning Levani?
Oh, I don't want to say yes, but the facts are there. No, I'm just kidding.
Just
It
if
is.
we
It
go
is.
the mathematic way, it should be. So Levania pinned 𝗦𝗙𝗗𝗏𝗧 to get this title, and then you pinned him. So the title, if it was a physical title, it had to be changed to you.
It is simple maths. I won't argue with the maths.
Yeah, can't do anything else. But I guess you will prove us how good you are as a shotgun champion, and I'm really interested in what will come up next for you in this title region. If you're looking back at the last years, what was your biggest highlight in the ring? Just one. You can just name one. I know it's difficult. I know it's not fair that I ask you this, but you just have to name one. What could
Okay,
it
there's
be?
obviously so many. But I don't think you could doubt that my biggest moment in my career was, yes, winning the shotgun title for WXW. It's like such a historic like match to happen. To be the first woman, for it to happen, having had these two matches earlier to win the Femme Fatale, like that whole day was just crazy. Like I don't even know how I got through it. It was just like go, 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 go. But yeah, that moment of I rolled up Lavanya and then it won, and then the crowd, I just saw everyone just stand up, and I couldn't believe it. the chants for, you deserve it, and that stuff, like, it stays with you. I got backstage and I couldn't. It was probably the most I've ever been after any match. To get that kind of a reaction from the crowd, and just to kind of sit there and go, "Whoa, that just happened." So yeah, I mean, yes, it was my most recent match, but my biggest match, and the
Yeah.
one that I am like the most proud of. And again, like, we got in there, we told a story, and the crowd got behind it, and yeah, the reaction paid off.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk about something, the last thing for this weekend. You had along the weekend 4 matches. How does
Mhm.
how does your body feel after this weekend with 4 matches? Worse
So I
than
was
on other
lucky.
weekends?
I don't think I've ever wrestled so many days, like that many matches. I have done 3 matches in one day before,
Yeah.
but like not on such a big show. Um, so I was lucky that the inner circle was a Thursday. For
Mm.
me then, I had Friday and Saturday to like recover. And then Sunday was the 3 matches. As you feel sore, you feel tired, you go through the emotions of like the adrenaline, doing the match. Okay, you feel quite sore. You do this match, you come back. Okay, you relax. No, you can't relax. You have to go out. You go again. You do this other match. And then there was like this long time between my match with Debbie in Femmes Fatales and the match with 𝗙𝗙𝗖𝗓𝗓. So it was like, because we were the second last match of the night,
Mm.
on the main tag, the night 3. So it's a lot of waiting, being nervous, being like worked up, high energy, high energy.
Mm.
Go out there and you're there for 15, 20 minutes, including, the time you're getting in, time you're leaving. And it's you don't feel like it's real. But then the next day you feel it. I was like, can you feel it? The next day you
So
I
first
just
you
the
feel
Monday
your
came and I just slept.
yeah, I can understand this. First you feel the pain, then you feel happy.
The adrenaline like makes you, and then
Yeah.
you sleep. I didn't sleep that night even. I came back and I was lying in the hotel. I was like, huh, can't believe that just happened. Yeah. On Monday morning, it was like 6 a.m. I was just asleep.
That's not a bad decision after such a hard weekend. So let's come from today and look into the future. We
Mhm.
already talked about the WXW Shotgun Championship, that you have a lot of goals with the title. But what are your other future goals? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to wrestle? What are your goals that you want to reach?
Yeah. Well, obviously with the shotgun belt, it's a really cool opportunity to like get to wrestle people I've never wrestled before. So I'm
Mm.
excited to see who puts their hands up and steps forward and looks to challenge it, or how long I can, be the shotgun champion. I'm looking forward to that. So that's like the big thing on my mind. That's my main focus. Outside of this, I would love to wrestle in countries that I've never wrestled before, in front of crowds I've not wrestled in front of before. Um, I'd love to go to States in America.
Mm.
I feel like that could be fun. And I've seen a lot of the girls from the UK go over and do quite well. And I think I want to do the same, because that's a crowd I've never wrestled in front of before. Again,
Mm.
I've not done Japan before. I mean, that would be like, again, insane to get to do that. So yeah, I'm happy with how things are going for me in the UK. Again, I want to just wrestle more and more people and see where it goes. And yeah, the thing about wrestling is you can't really control every opportunity that comes your way. You just have to put yourself in the best position to get there. So I'll do what I can, and then outside of that, I'm just happy that I'm here, happy that I've had these experiences. I'm really grateful for everything that's happened in the last year. Like, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Mm.
And yeah, and that's it. It's just like, yeah, be grateful for everything that's happened and keep working hard. That's kind of the main thing I want to do.
So for all promoters who are listening to us, here is someone who has no problem going to every country to show what she can do in wrestling. That's
Yes,
something
listen,
new.
we'll try. We'll try our like I have my Irish passport, so listen, the visas can we'll figure them out.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
always
absolutely.
visa is always a small problem if you go
Mhm.
over to America and someone else, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll see.
But perhaps there are possibilities not just to see you. We know we can see you at WXW shows. Are there other shows where we can see you in the next months in November or December?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, a lot of my work is like based in the UK. I don't have my dates yet. I wish I knew this ahead of time, then I could tell you exactly where you'd see me. Um, but where you can find this
But
information is my social media.
yeah,
So
we can follow you on social media. So what are your social media handles? Where can we find you?
yes. So I don't have a Facebook, but I have an Instagram and a Twitter X. I have an X account. Both of the names are at I'm Anita Vaughan, so I am Anita. And there is where I will keep people up to date with my matches, even though I don't know what they are yet. But I hope to be in Germany as much as I can, and I think that's the plan. And then yeah, you'll find me a lot in the UK. I think yeah. The UK.
Perhaps you can defend the shotgun title at a date in the UK. Could be
Oh, if they
possible
let me
soon.
take it, I'll happily defend it.
I can understand that you don't know all the dates because you can't remember everything. It's not that easy. And that you don't have a Facebook account, that's totally clear. You are just too young for Facebook.
Yeah, we'll say
Good.
that. Yeah, I like that answer.
So now we know where we can see you, where we can contact you. How else can we support you? Is there any merch platform where we can support you?
Oh, well, like, I mean, yeah, and I never want to like be like, oh, like you have to buy a t-shirt, you have to buy a picture. Sometimes it's just like, sending out a nice tweet into the
But
universe
I
or
will
like that.
will tell the people that they have to buy a T-shirt to get an autograph if you're somewhere, because you can support your wrestler with this. If you find a wrestler great, if you want to support them, go there and buy their merch. But you have to tell us where we can get it.
Where you can. Okay, well, if you can. Again, no pressure, guys. Sometimes a compliment is the best thing you can buy. But I have a Big Cartel store, so I think it's anitavaughan.bigcartel.com, or you can just Google Anita Vaughan merch, or just send me a message and I will tell you where you can buy my stuff. But I have t-shirts, I have 8x10s, and yeah, like if anyone wants to say hello at a merch stand or after a show, just yeah, don't be afraid to come up to merch, say hello to the wrestlers, get to know them. They wanna talk to you guys as much as you want to talk to them, and yeah, that's the best place.
Of course, it's always good, and that's the great situation that we have in Europe. You can talk to the wrestlers after their matches, after the shows.
Yeah.
If you're in America, you cannot do this. Perhaps
Yeah.
when you pay 100 or more euros, you have some few minutes with a wrestler in the UK
Yeah.
or in the US, but in Europe, you have the possibility to go over and talk
You
to
can
a
go
lot
say
of
hi.
really nice persons.
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
convention.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Anita, thank you that you took the time for being here today.
Oh, thank you. It's been a lovely almost an hour. So hopefully people will listen to all of this.
Of course,
Yeah,
if
it's been
you
great.
want to know
Thank you.
more
It's been
about you.
fun.
And we also say thank you to everyone who has listened to this podcast with video or without, like you like it. And we will hear us again when you hear the slogan, just bring it.
This is 𝗙𝗘𝗗𝗏, and you're listening to Just Bring It, the Nerd Podcast.